The biggest lies about aging you still believe. Let me tell you something that took me decades to understand. Aging is not the enemy. No matter how many creams, pills, or magical solutions the world tries to sell you, growing older is not something to fear. But I get it. I used to believe the lies too. They whisper in your ear, loud and convincing, until they echo in your mind as the truth. And before you know it, you find yourself dreading every birthday. But let's sit down and talk. Let me tell you what I've learned. Not from books or ads, but from life itself. The first lie that got me was that aging means becoming useless. Society has a funny way of making people feel invisible after a certain age. They say you are no longer productive, no longer relevant, and that you have nothing left to offer. I used to believe it too. There was a time when I felt my opinions did not matter anymore. Like the world was moving too fast and I was just in the way. But do you know what I realized? Experience is priceless. The wisdom you gather from living through the ups and downs. The lessons learned from mistakes. The knowledge gained from countless days and nights. These things are gold. Yet, the world convinces you they are worthless just because you have a few gray hairs. I wish someone had told me earlier that being older doesn't mean being obsolete. It means being a library full of stories. It means being a guide for those who are lost. You're not useless. You're a treasure chest filled with wisdom. Another lie that gets to most people is that aging means losing your health. They make it sound like growing old is nothing but a slow march towards pain and disease. They paint a grim picture where every step forward is a step closer to weakness and misery. But that is not the truth. Yes, the body changes. Yes, you may not be able to run as fast as you did in your 20s. But aging doesn't mean giving up on health. It doesn't mean surrendering to illness. I know people in their 80s who are stronger than some in their 40s. Do you know their secret? They never stopped moving. They never stopped caring for their bodies. They didn't buy into the lie that old age equals sickness. If you take care of yourself, if you eat right, move enough, and stay mentally active, your body will carry you much farther than you think. Aging is not a curse. It is a reminder to be kinder to yourself. I also believe that getting older meant losing all joy and excitement. Like life was over once you pass a certain milestone. No more dreams, no more adventures, just routine and waiting for the end. I could not have been more wrong. Some of my happiest moments happened later in life. Moments that made me feel truly alive. Like watching my grandchildren take their first steps, discovering new hobbies I never thought I would enjoy, or traveling to places I always dreamed of visiting. Aging is not about slowing down. It is about living more intentionally. It is about choosing experiences that truly matter. It is about realizing that life is not measured by how young you are, but by how much you live. Then there is the lie about beauty, the cruelest one of them all. They tell you that aging makes you ugly, that wrinkles are flaws, that gray hair is something to be ashamed of. They push products that promise to erase every sign of age. They make you feel like youth is the only form of beauty that matters. I remember standing in front of the mirror one day, staring at the lines on my face and feeling defeated. But then I looked closer. Those lines are the marks of my laughter, of my tears, of every moment I had truly lived. Each gray hair was a reminder of the battles I fought and won, of the wisdom I gained along the way. How could that be ugly? Beauty is not about smooth skin or shiny hair. It is about authenticity. It is about being comfortable in your own skin. It is about wearing your life story with pride. But perhaps the most dangerous lie is that aging means losing purpose. That once you reach a certain age, your role is done. Your dreams no longer matter. And your goals are just foolish fantasies. I believe that too. I thought my time to make a difference had passed. I thought my life's purpose had expired. But the truth is, purpose does not have an expiration date. As long as you are breathing, you have a purpose. It could be as grand as starting a new career or as simple as teaching your grandchildren to be kind. It could be giving back to your community or simply being there for someone who needs you. Your existence matters. Your purpose evolves with time, but it never disappears. I used to think that aging was about losing things. Losing youth, losing health, losing beauty, losing purpose. But growing older taught me that it is not about losing. It is about gaining wisdom, gaining resilience, gaining freedom from what others think, gaining clarity about what truly matters. It is about becoming more yourself with every passing year. It is about letting go of the noise and focusing on what brings you joy. I wish someone had told me this sooner. I wish I hadn't wasted so much time fearing what was inevitable. But now, I want to share this truth with you. You do not have to believe the lies. You do not have to fear aging. You do not have to measure your worth by how young you look or how fast you can run. You are not losing. You are gaining. I want you to remember this. Every line on your face is a story. Every gray hair is a badge of honor. Every year is a chapter of wisdom. Do not let anyone take that away from you. Do not let society make you feel small just because you have lived longer. You are not fading. You are growing. You are evolving. And you are becoming exactly who you are meant to be. I'm not saying that aging is always easy. There are days when the body aches. Days when memories feel distant. Days when the world seems too fast and too young. But those days do not define you. They do not diminish your worth. They do not take away your value. Because no matter how old you are still here. You're still learning. You're still loving. And you're still living. I want you to stand tall. Wear your age proudly. Do not hide from the mirror. Do not shrink from birthdays. Do not let the lies rob you of the beauty of growing older. Embrace it. Celebrate it. Live it fully. Because aging is not the end. It is a journey that is worth every single step. So, the next time you hear those lies whispering in your ear, shut them down. Replace them with the truth. You're not useless. You're not broken. You're not ugly. You're not purposeless. You are alive. You are strong. You are beautiful. You are purposeful. And you're exactly where you need to be. Remember this from an old soul who once believed the lies. Aging is not something to fear. It is something to honor. It is a privilege denied to many. It is proof that you have lived, that you have loved, and that you have mattered. Wear it with pride. Live it with courage. And never, ever believe the lies again. What role does consumerism play in fueling fears about aging and selling anti-aging solutions? Let me tell you a story about how the world convinced us that aging is something to fear. Not because it is painful or tragic, but because there is a powerful machine behind it. A machine that feeds on insecurities and spits out promises in shiny bottles. That machine is consumerism, and it has done a masterful job of making people terrified of growing old. I should know. I fell for it too. I spent years chasing youth, buying creams and potions that promised to turn back the clock. But let me tell you the truth. No bottle has the power to change time. No cream can erase the life you have lived. Yet they made me believe it could. And that is how they keep us trapped. Consumerism is clever. It whispers lies so sweetly that you don't even realize you are being deceived. It starts with subtle messages. You see them everywhere. On billboards, in magazines, on television, and now on every screen you own. Perfect faces without a single line. Smooth skin that looks untouched by time. Smiles so bright and youthful that you start to wonder if there is something wrong with you for having wrinkles. And that is exactly what they want. To make you feel less. To make you doubt yourself. To make you fear aging. I remember looking in the mirror one day. I saw lines on my face that weren't there before. I saw gray hair sneaking in. And I felt a knot in my stomach. I felt panic. I felt old. But here is the thing. I wasn't afraid of aging itself. I was afraid of not being good enough. I was afraid of becoming invisible, useless, irrelevant. That fear did not come from me. It came from all the voices out there telling me that youth is the only beauty that matters, that getting older meant losing value, that my worth was tied to my appearance. Consumerism had planted those fears in me, and just as it planned, it offered me the cure. The anti-aging industry is massive. They sell hope in jars, dreams in serums, confidence in pills. They promise you the impossible, youth in a bottle, and they do it so skillfully that you don't even question it. You just reach for your wallet. I did too. I spent money on products I didn't need. I bought creams that claimed to erase wrinkles overnight. serums that promised to lift and tighten my skin, supplements that swore to keep me young forever. And every time I used them, I waited. I hoped. I stared at my reflection, searching for the magic. But it never came. Do you know why? Because no product can stop time. No cream can rewrite the years you have lived. And yet, consumerism keeps selling the dream because they know we are afraid. They know we are vulnerable. They know we are desperate to hold on to youth because they have convinced us that getting older is a curse. They have made aging the enemy. And they're making billions by keeping that fear alive. But let me tell you the truth. Aging is not the enemy. Fear is. And that fear is manufactured. It is planted in us by companies that profit from our insecurities. They feed us images of perfection. They tell us that youth equals happiness, that wrinkles are flaws, that gray hair is shameful. They make us believe that our worth diminishes as we grow older. But they are wrong. Those lines on your face are proof that you have smiled, laughed, and lived. Those gray hairs are marks of wisdom, signs that you have seen things, learned things, and survived things. I wish I had known this sooner. I wish someone had told me that beauty is not about having perfect skin. It is about being real, being authentic, being yourself. I wish I had understood that growing older doesn't make you less. It makes you more experienced, more resilient, more you. But consumerism does not want you to know that. Because the moment you embrace your age, the moment you stop fearing wrinkles and gray hair, the moment you realize that you are enough just as you are, that is the moment they lose you as a customer. And so they keep selling the lie. They keep pushing the myth that youth equals beauty and aging equals decay. They bombard us with messages that say we need fixing, that we need to hide the signs of aging, that we need to look younger to be valuable. But we don't. We never did. That is just the game they play to keep us buying, to keep us chasing an illusion that can never be caught. I'm not saying it is wrong to take care of yourself. There is nothing wrong with wanting to feel good in your own skin. But do it for yourself, not because the world says you should, not because you are afraid of growing older, not because you believe the lie that aging makes you less beautiful. Love your skin, cherish your body, treat yourself kindly, but don't buy into the fear. Don't let them convince you that you are broken just because you have lived. I wasted so much time trying to fight the clock. I spent so much money chasing youth, but I was never chasing youth. I was chasing acceptance. I was chasing worth. I was chasing confidence. And none of those things come from a bottle. They come from within. They come from learning to love who you are. At any age, with every line, with every gray hair, with every year. How does the idea that joy and adventure end with youth limit our experiences in later life? I remember the day it hit me. I was in my 50s, standing on the beach, watching the waves crash. I saw a group of young people laughing, running into the water without a care in the world. I felt a pang in my chest. Not jealousy, no. It was grief. Grief for the days I thought were behind me. I had convinced myself that my time for joy and adventure was over. That I had to be sensible now, responsible, that I had to act my age. But what does that even mean? Who decided that joy has an expiration date? That adventure is only for the young? I stood there feeling old, feeling trapped by rules I never agreed to. Rules society had handed me without my permission. We were told from a young age that life is a straight line. That childhood is for innocence. Youth is for fun. Adulthood is for work and responsibility. And old age is for sitting quietly, reminiscing about the days when you were allowed to feel alive. It is nonsense. Yet so many of us accept it without question. Will it cage us? Limit us? We spend our younger years chasing dreams, only to lock them away as we get older. We stop exploring, stop risking, stop daring to feel joy. Why? Because somewhere along the way, we are told that it is inappropriate, that it is foolish. That adventure is only for the young and reckless. I wasted too many years believing that. I stopped trying new things. I stopped being curious. I stopped allowing myself to play, to dance, to laugh until my sides hurt. I was too busy being grown up, too busy worrying about what people would think, too busy trying to be respectable. And do you know what happened? Life started to feel small. The world became a series of routines. Predictable. Dull. I felt old. Not because of my age, but because I was no longer truly living. I had given up on joy. That is what the lie does to you. It convinces you that the best days are behind you, that all that is left is responsibility and routine, that you're too old to try new things, too old to dream, too old to fall in love again, too old to feel the thrill of adventure. But let me tell you something. Joy does not care about your age. Adventure does not look at your wrinkles or gray hair. It is there for anyone who is willing to reach for it. I learned that the hard way, but thankfully I did learn. It was a friend of mine who woke me up. He was in his 60s, but his spirit was as youthful as ever. He laughed loudly, traveled to new places, tried new foods, learned new skills. I asked him one day how he managed to stay so young at heart. He looked at me with a grin and said, "I never stopped living." It was so simple, yet so powerful. He never bought into the lie that joy and adventure were for the young. He understood that life is meant to be experienced fully, no matter how many years you have walked this earth. That conversation changed me. I started saying yes more. I stopped worrying about looking foolish. I danced even when no one else was dancing. I traveled to places I had never been. I learned how to paint. I even went skydiving. It was terrifying, exhilarating, liberating. And in that free fall, I felt more alive than I had in decades. I realized that joy is not a memory. It is a choice. An adventure is not just for the young. It is for the bold. I wish more people understood this. I wish they knew that life does not end when you turn 40 or 50 or 70. It only ends when you stop living it, when you stop chasing joy, when you stop seeking adventure, when you allow yourself to be confined by expectations that were never yours to begin with. Too many people spend their later years in regret, not because they grew old, but because they stopped living long before their bodies gave out. They accepted the lie that fun was for the young and missed out on so much because of it. I do not want that for you. I want you to dance, even if you're the oldest person on the dance floor. I want you to try new things, even if you're not good at them. I want you to fall in love, even if your heart has been broken before. I want you to explore, to laugh, to play, to live. I want you to understand that adventure is for anyone who is brave enough to seek it, and joy belongs to anyone who is open enough to feel it. Do not let the world tell you that your best days are behind you. Do not let society decide when you are too old for joy. Do not let anyone convince you that adventure is no longer meant for you. You are alive, and that is all the reason you need to chase joy, to seek adventure, to live fully no matter your age. I wish someone had told me this sooner. I wish I had not wasted so many years feeling old simply because I thought I was supposed to. But the beautiful thing about life is that it is never too late. I found my joy again. I found my adventure. And you can too. All it takes is letting go of the lie that fun is only for the young. Life is for the living. And if you are breathing, then your time is now. Why do so many people feel pressure to hide their age? And how can we change this mindset? The truth is, people feel pressure to hide their age because we live in a world that worships youth. Everywhere you look, youth is celebrated, glorified, put on a pedestal. The young are portrayed as beautiful, adventurous, desirable. And the old? They are often portrayed as irrelevant, outdated, forgotten. It is a cruel narrative, and it has seeped into our minds, making us believe that aging is something to fear, something to hide. We see it in movies, in advertisements, in magazines. The hero is always young, strong, vibrant. The wise old man is often a side character, a relic of the past. And the older woman? She is rarely seen at all unless she is desperately clinging to youth. This obsession with youth has created a culture of fear of becoming invisible, of losing value, of no longer being attractive or important. People hide their age because they are terrified of being judged, of being dismissed, of being told they are too old for certain dreams, certain adventures, certain opportunities. And so they lie. They dye their hair. They cover their wrinkles. They pretend to be younger than they are because they think it will keep them relevant, keep them loved, keep them worthy. but is all a lie. A cruel lie that keeps people trapped in a cycle of insecurity and fear. I know this because I was trapped once too. I remember the first time I felt ashamed of my age. I was at a job interview, and the interviewer kept looking at my resume, his eyes narrowing at the dates. I was qualified, more than qualified, but I could see the doubt in his eyes. I could almost hear his thoughts. Too old, outdated, not worth investing in. I did not get the job, and for the first time, I felt ashamed of how many years I had lived. As if all the experiences, all the lessons, all the wisdom I had gained were somehow a burden rather than a gift. It took me a long time to realize that the problem was not my age. The problem was the way the world viewed age, the way society treated it like a flaw rather than a badge of honor. And I knew then that if I wanted things to change, I had to start with myself. I had to stop hiding, stop apologizing, stop feeling ashamed of the years I had lived. I had to wear my age proudly because it was a testament to my strength, to my resilience, to the fact that I had survived every storm life threw at me and was still standing. If we want to change this mindset, we have to start by changing the narrative. We have to stop glorifying youth as the only time worth living. We have to celebrate all stages of life because every age has its beauty, its power, its purpose. We need to see more stories of older people pursuing dreams, falling in love, traveling the world, making a difference. We need to see aging as a journey, not a decline, a growth, not a loss. We need to start valuing wisdom as much as we value energy, experience as much as we value novelty. It starts with how we speak about age. How often have you heard someone say, "You look great for your age?" As if looking your age is a bad thing. Or, "You are too old to be doing that." As if dreams have an expiration date. We need to change this language. We need to stop making age the enemy and start seeing it as a part of life's adventure. We need to encourage people to embrace their years, not hide them. To see their wrinkles as proof of laughter, tears, growth, and survival. To see their gray hair as a crown they have earned. I stopped hiding my age a long time ago. I stopped worrying about whether people thought I was too old. I stopped pretending to be someone I was not just to fit into a world obsessed with youth. And do you know what happened? I felt free. Free from the fear of judgment. Free from the pressure to be something I am not. Free to live fully and authentically. I learned that age is not a limitation. It is a privilege. Not everyone gets to grow old. Not everyone gets to see their grandchildren laugh. To witness the world change. To learn and grow with every passing year. I want people to understand that age is not something to hide. It is something to celebrate, to embrace, to wear proudly. Because every year you live is another year you have learned, loved, lost, and grown. Every wrinkle is a story. Every gray hair is a victory. Every birthday is a blessing. And the moment you stop fearing your age is the moment you start truly living. What can we learn from cultures that celebrate aging and view it as a sign of honor and respect? I remember the first time I traveled to Japan. I was struck by how differently they viewed age. There, elders are revered, respected, honored. In every home, you see it. The way they bow to the older generation, the way they listen when they speak, the way they care for them with such tenderness and patience. It is not just politeness. It is love. It is gratitude. It is the understanding that age brings wisdom and that wisdom is a treasure worth cherishing. In Japan, they celebrate Kiro no Hai, respect for the aged dead, an entire day dedicated to honoring elders, thanking them for their contributions, celebrating their lives. It is a reminder that age is not something to fear. It is something to honor, something to be proud of. I think about that often, about how different life would be if we celebrated aging instead of fearing it. If we saw wrinkles not as flaws, but as stories, proof of laughter, of tears, of survival. If we saw gray hair not as a sign of decline, but as a crown of wisdom earned through years of experience. If we listened to our elders, truly listened, and learned from their journeys, their mistakes, their triumphs. There's a reason they are still here. There's a reason they have lasted this long. They have lessons to teach, stories to share. And when we dismiss them, When we hide them away, when we stop listening, we lose so much more than we realize. I've seen this same respect in other cultures too. In Native American tribes, elders are the keepers of wisdom. They are storytellers, teachers, spiritual guides. They're the bridge between the past and the future. Children grow up sitting at their feet, listening to their stories, learning from their experiences. There is no shame in growing old. There is honor. There is respect, because they understand that age is a privilege, a journey, a sacred part of life. They know that without their elders, they would lose their roots, their traditions, their identity. In African cultures, the older generation is often seen as the custodians of culture. They are consulted for advice, for wisdom, for blessings. They are seen as the pillars of the community. They carry the history, the knowledge, the spirit of the people. In these cultures, growing old is not something to hide. It is something to celebrate. It is proof that you have lived, that you have contributed, that you have endured. And when they pass on, they are remembered, honored, celebrated, because they were valued, loved, respected. These cultures teach us something powerful. They teach us that aging is not just about growing older. It is about growing in wisdom, in grace, in love. They teach us that life does not lose value as the years pass. It gains depth. It gains meaning. They show us that age is not a flaw. It is a privilege, a blessing, a gift, and that the older generation is not a burden. They are a treasure, a source of wisdom, guidance, and love. I often wonder how different our world would be if we embraced this mindset, if we celebrated aging instead of fearing it, if we saw elders not as reminders of our own mortality, but as guides who can help us live better, love better, grow better. If we took the time to sit with them, to listen to them, to learn from them, because one day we will be the elders. One day we will carry the stories, the lessons, the wisdom, and how we treat our elders now will shape how we are treated when our hair turns gray. It is not too late to change. It is not too late to learn from these cultures, to start seeing aging as a journey, a growth, a blessing, to start honoring the older generation, to start celebrating their lives, their contributions, their wisdom. It starts with small things, a visit, a call, a conversation. It starts with listening, truly listening, not just hearing their words, but feeling their stories, learning from their experiences, absorbing their wisdom. It also means changing the way we speak about age. We need to stop using age as an insult. Stop equating youth with beauty and age with decline. We need to change the narrative. We need to celebrate all stages of life. We need to see the beauty in every wrinkle, the power in every gray hair, the wisdom in every year lived. I have seen so much in my life. I have lost. I have loved. I have laughed. I have cried. I have fallen. I have risen. And every year, every wrinkle, every gray hair is proof that I have lived, that I have survived, that I have grown, and I am proud of it. I'm not ashamed of my age. I'm grateful for it, because it means I have been given more time, more memories, more lessons. How can we rewrite the narrative around aging to embrace it as a journey of growth and fulfillment? You see, the way we talk about aging shapes the way we experience it. If we see it as a decline, we will shrink. If we see it as an end, we will stop dreaming. If we see it as a burden, we will feel weighed down. But if we see it as a journey, as a time of growth and fulfillment, we will live boldly. We will live fully. We will live joyfully. To do this, we must first change the way we see ourselves. We must stop measuring our worth by the smoothness of our skin or the color of our hair. These things are fleeting, temporary. They are not who we are. Who we are is the sum of our experiences, our lessons, our wisdom, our love. I remember when I first began to feel the weight of years. My back ached a little more. My steps were a little slower. I looked in the mirror and saw lines that were not there before. For a moment, I mourned the youth that was slipping away. But then I looked closer. I saw the laughter in those lines, the tears, the love, the loss, the life. Every wrinkle was a story, a memory, a victory. and I realized that aging is not about losing beauty. It is about gaining depth. It is about wearing the journey of life upon your face with pride. It is about living so fully that it shows. If we are to rewrite the narrative of aging, we must learn to celebrate these lines, to honor them, to see them not as flaws, but as proof that we have lived. We must change the way we speak about growing older. We must stop speaking of age as an enemy to fight or a curse to fear. Instead, we must see it as a privilege, a gift, a journey, because not everyone gets to grow old. Not everyone gets to see their hair turn silver or watch their children grow. Not everyone gets to sit beneath the stars and reflect on a life well lived. Aging is a blessing. It is proof that you have survived, that you have endured, that you have grown. We must also change the way we live as we grow older. Too often, people believe that dreams are for the young, that adventure is for the youth, that learning and growth end with age. But that is not true. Dreams do not have an expiration date. Adventure is not limited by years. Growth does not stop until you take your last breath. I have learned new things in my 70s that I never knew in my 20s. I have taken risks in my 80s that I was too afraid to take in my 30s. I have laughed, loved, learned, and lived more deeply with each passing year. Aging is not an end. It is a beginning, a new chapter, a chance to live fully, boldly, joyfully. To rewrite the narrative of aging, we must continue to dream, to learn, to explore, to grow. We must refuse to let age limit us or define us. We must refuse to shrink as the years pass. Instead, we must expand, deepen, flourish. We must live with curiosity, with courage, with love, and we must share this journey with others. We must tell our stories, our triumphs, our failures, our lessons. We must be mentors, guides, teachers. We must show the younger generation that life does not end at 40 or 50 or 60. It keeps going. It keeps growing. It keeps getting richer and deeper and more beautiful. We must also change the way we treat our elders. We must listen to them, learn from them, honor them. Too often, we dismiss them as irrelevant, outdated, out of touch, but they carry the wisdom of decades. They have walked paths we have not yet seen. They have loved, lost, endured, survived, and their stories are treasures. Their lessons are gifts. If we are to rewrite the narrative of aging, we must start by valuing our elders, by seeing them not as burdens, but as blessings, not as relics of the past, but as guides for the future. I have lived long enough to know that life is a journey, a cycle, a dance. It is not about staying young. It is about growing wiser. It is not about clinging to the past. It is about embracing the present and looking forward to the future. It is not about avoiding change. It is about evolving, growing, becoming. Aging is not a decline. It is an ascension. It is a journey to becoming more fully yourself, more fully alive. If we're to rewrite the narrative of aging, we must do it together. We must change the way we speak, the way we think, the way we live. We must celebrate every year, every wrinkle, every gray hair. We must see them as proof that we have loved, laughed, cried, endured, grown. We must see them as badges of honor, as trophies of a life well lived. I am old. I am proud. I am grateful. Every day is a gift. Every year is a blessing. And I'm not done living, not done dreaming, not done growing. Neither are you. No matter how old you are, no matter how many wrinkles you have, no matter how many years you have walked this earth, there is still life in you, still dreams, still growth, still love. And that is something worth celebrating. That is a story worth telling. That is a narrative worth rewriting. If you like today's discussion, don't forget to like the video. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to stay updated with every video we release. And yes, don't forget to share your experiences and thoughts in the comments. Every comment is special to us. Your feedback helps us improve further. We'll continue to meet you in every new video on this channel. So until next time, take care.